Hi everyone, it's Danielle, also known as Gently Smiling Jaws, and welcome to my Flosstube. For this Flosstube, I really haven't done a ton of stitching. I will show you what I've done, but most of my energy over the past 2 weeks has been put into crocheting. I'm still working on that gray corner to corner blanket, which I did not bring in with me for the filming because I've shown it before, and really it looks about the same. It's just bigger, and you're not really going to be able to see that on camera that much. But I've got to the point where I'm now finally decreasing it in size, so I'm hoping this portion of it will start to go faster, and then I can decide what I want to do on the border, and then focus on the other blanket that I have to get done before I see whether I can get the third one that I plan to do done in time for Christmas. We'll see. You know, it was a couple months ago when I decided that these were my grand plans of what I was going to work on, and then I sort of dragged my feet a little on getting started, and now, even though I still have time, I've sort of gotten myself in the panic mode and guilt mode for not working on this as much as I feel that I should have. Yeah, so now that's where I'm at. And this is kind of what I seem to do with a lot of hobbies. As I get into something, then I feel like, oh, I can make things for people. And then once there's something that I sort of have to do, then it starts to become less fun. And I should know by now that I just shouldn't do that. But we're here, and I'm going to keep going. But at least I don't have any other cross-stitch stuff that I have to get done for others. I have some finishing that I need to do, and we'll see when that happens. So yeah, most of the time was spent on that crochet blanket. But in terms of cross-stitching, unfortunately, I have not touched Saga in the last 2 weeks because I felt like I should be crocheting, so that got pushed to the side, and then I started working kind of here and there on two of my whips. So the ones that I've worked on are Birds to the Boughs, where I've got some more done on this, so I've made some progress here. Not a ton, but it was sort of nice to sit down and just grab one color and work on, a little section here, and just do that. So not a ton of progress, but still some made. And the other that I had worked on, both because we are in October now, and then it was Witchy Stitcher Day on October 1st, was I've continued working on All Treats, No Tricks. So I've got this little pumpkin guy most of the way done, still some left to do, but that's where we're at here. And it's been fun to work on this one as well. In addition to, even though I haven't been working a ton on cross stitch, just a couple days ago I did get some items in that will hopefully make my cross stitching easier when I put more time into it. I did end up purchasing both a Lowery stand as well as one of the daylight magnifying lamps. I should say I do have, I had already had the small, I think is it the daylight Halo Go? I'm now questioning the name, but it's the little kind of folding travel light with the magnifier on it, and that is rechargeable, so you don't have to have it plugged in. And I had used that for quite a while, and I still enjoy it. But when I decided I was going to get the stand, then I was looking into it. It seemed to make more sense to get a light that would attach to the stand and had a larger size kind of magnifying window to make that easier. So I haven't stitched much with it yet, but I've done some, and it's sort of nice to be able to do it without having to do it in the very non-ergonomic way that I was stitching before, kind of all sitting all hunched over, my legs tucked up at odd angles with a lap desk and things balanced on that, had the light, had my tablet there, and I was spending a lot of hours crocheting that way. And then I was wondering, why am I sore in certain ways? Why is my knee acting weird? And that sort of is what prompted me. I had been, these were purchases I had sort of wanted to make, but I was holding off because, like, not yet. And then as I was starting to get these aches and pains from the stupid things I was doing as I was stitching, I decided to move that higher up in the priority list. So I have that now. Maybe I can get a picture of it to kind of insert in to show. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting used to using that and doing better things for myself as I'm stitching. And as I learn to stitch with a stand and doing things two-handed, I've only done this a little bit, but I know I had seen stuff about using a laying tool to help keep your thread, the floss straight as you're stitching. And I thought, well, maybe I'd like to try that at some point, and been on websites and kind of seen some laying tools that were on there, and had almost thought about ordering stuff. But then I remembered I have done a little dabbling in tapestry weaving, and if you do want to learn tapestry weaving, I highly recommend taking I know she does in-person classes as well, which are like workshops, which I've never had a chance to take, but Rebecca Mezoff does online classes that are great. And in addition to that, there's another tapestry weaver whose work I really like, Sarah Swett, and one of Rebecca's classes is both her and Sarah teaching a fringeless weaving method. So I haven't done a whole ton of tapestry weaving. It's been a little bit here and there, but because I had done that, I do have some small wood bobbins around, and it's been long enough I have to go back and find out, look up who exactly the maker of these are, but these are these beautiful wood bobbins with a metal tip on them. Let's see if we can get that. And I thought, why purchase a laying tool when I have something already on hand? And I have a few of these that would work just fine. So the little bit that I've done using this as a laying tool, I feel like my stitches were more nicely, sat nicer on there. I also felt like I was stitching significantly slower as I was doing it. So I imagine that with practice, things would speed up. And so I'm going to have to kind of try things more and decide where aiming for perfection versus, how much of that versus just having fun and relaxing, enjoying something, sort of where the balance is on those ends of the spectrum as far as how much I want to try to use something like this. But we'll see. Playing around and seeing what works. Where I had used this bobbin as a laying tool was on part of the face of the little pumpkin guy. So putting this up, I'm not sure if it'll be clear that, and now I can't remember exactly where the parts were that I had used this and not, but when I was doing it and looking at it, I felt like there was certain parts on the face area with the orange stitching that looked better because I was using this, but we'll see. There's I'll try more and decide what works for me, and it may be on a kind of per project basis, and but I don't know. we'll see. What else do I have here? I have managed not to start any new projects, but I'm still thinking about all the projects that I want to do. So another one on my list of ones that I want to do but have refrained from starting on is the strawberry bird from the blue flower. That one there. And I do have the floss. I did get all the floss together, and I have two options for fabric. One is, these are both 40 count linens. One is Grog from Bestitch Me. And let's see, there's Grog from Bestitch Me, and so this another 40 count Silver Mist linen by Fabrics by Stephanie. So these are the fabrics I'm considering. Let's see if I can hold these up here in a way. Those are the two I'm thinking about. And there's this is not doing a great job of showing everything, but yeah, we'll see. So it's more in the eventual plans, as I want to start and keep starting all the things, but at the same time having too many projects going at once, even though now all those projects are just for me, the cross-stitching ones at least. It starts to get me a little stressed if I have too many things sitting there done. So again, making plans for lots of things, but refraining from diving all in just yet. What else here? Oh, the hopefully if I can put a picture in on this video, the Lowery stand that I got the poppy color, the red color. I got the stand itself, there's a little, I think, accessory kit, or no, it was the care kit, which I have not actually used yet, but I think it's a brush, wax, and instructions. So I think it's wax to kind of put on some of the like screws and stuff, because I noticed there's like a little bit of squeaking on certain things, and I think that's part of what you use to help with that. And so I got that care kit, the stand, the accessory bracket that the light that I got attaches to, and I am getting one of the corner clamps as well. That's supposed to be better for Q snaps. I have used, because both the projects that I showed, well, had I used both of them on there yet? But yeah, I think both of the whips that I showed, I had stitched on those while using them on the stand, and that worked just fine with the standard clamp that the stand comes with. But since I was making the purchase, I had decided to go ahead and order the corner clamp at the same time. So once that arrives, we'll see how that works and if I like that better than the side one. I imagine that it may make more of a difference the bigger of a Q snap that you have, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm still in the early stages of learning about all this stuff. So stand, accessory bracket, corner bracket on the way, care kit, and then let's see, I think I have a tab open with the particular light that I got was the Daylight Omega 5 magnifying light, and it's that. I happen to order, I know you can order these lights from a number of places. I happen to order it from a website called sewingmachineoutlet.com, which I didn't really know anything about. It just, they happened to have a bit better price on that light than I had seen elsewhere, and I was ready to get one, so that's where I went with, and it arrived, and so far it's been working great. So yeah, that's what I got there. So as time goes on, we'll see how everything works. The other thing that I'm looking forward to coming up is, I believe, next week, Friday the 13th, is when tickets for the Jingle Ball go on sale. And last year, I sort of very last minute attended the Jingle Ball. I hadn't really, heard about it or paid attention to it, but sort of at the last minute, I realized it was going on, and I went ahead and got my ticket and mainly used it just to shop. I didn't attend any of the classes or anything like that. This year, I'm thinking that maybe I will attend a class or two. I'm still looking over the classes and trying to decide what I want to do and kind of how things are going to fit into my schedule. And I'll say that there's, looking through there's a number of things that I would like to do. However, I have a feeling that some of the classes, depending on what I decide to take, I may end up watching the class before I have things finished, because just in particularly those crochet projects and what I need to have done, and if these are classes where ideally you're doing pre-stitching before the class so that you can finish things, I don't know that I'm going to get that done, but we'll see. I know that from reading on the website that if you take a class, obviously you get whatever materials are in either, the kit if you're getting a kitted version, or whatever comes in, the materials for the PDF version, that the recording of the class will still be available for 30 days. So we'll see. I said things that I would like to do, but also trying not to get in over my head when I feel like I'm already kind of in over my head on projects, but oh well. What else? Another thing that I would like to do coming up, and let's see, I don't have this open, so actually I don't have the name of the commenter on one of my other videos, because there was someone saying that she'd like to see me talk more about sort of tea and how I brew tea. So whether it will be a sort of additional video or in place of a Flosstube video talking about tea and showing brewing tea in an upcoming video is something that I'd like to do. It would be sort of a very general overview, since there's other people out there who certainly go more in depth and have far more knowledge about tea than I do. But as sort of an introduction, if you're just curious about more, I can certainly do that. Excuse me. I should have grabbed some tea for this video, and I did not. And in fact, I didn't grab any tea to really talk about for this video. I have been drinking Lately, it's sort of been a combination of just grabbing some bag tea to have something quickly, to was drinking the smoked white tea that I got from White 2 Tea recently. I think that one was called Calabash. And tried that. In fact, I was just drinking it a little earlier before filming, and I'm quite enjoying that so far. I've also been drinking some oolong. It's a Four Seasons oolong that a friend of mine gave me, and I was just going through some of my stash and grabbed some of that, and been drinking that recently also. And since that was given to me, I'm not certain where that came from. I think it may be from our local oolong vendor, Floating Leaves, but I'm not entirely sure. I just know what was on the label my friend had put on it. But yeah, I've been, just continuing to go through tea there. And what I'd like to do for the tea video that I do is show, do something with a tea that's in cake form, just so I can show kind of breaking off the part of the cake and brewing that up. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are far more precise than me when it comes to tea, as far as measuring out how many grams of leaves they're using and calculating their leaf to water ratio and all that, and being specific about the amount of time that you're brewing and all that. And for me, at least right now, that's sort of more work than I want to put into my tea. I just sort of more, some days I use less leaf. Other days I'm like, I've got a lot of tea around and I should start going through it. And so I just grab a big amount of it and toss it in there and have a ton of leaf in there that may be way more than I should be using. And sometimes I will, put the water in there and just do really quick steeps on the tea. Other times I put water in there and then I forget about it for a while, and then it's really strong and maybe I'm adding more water to kind of dilute it out. It's just sort of very loosey-goosey with how I brew my tea. And I'm not trying to do it any one particular way or follow any one particular set of rules. And I think that, however you want to brew your tea, as long as you enjoy it, that's fine. I'm not trying to brew in any, authentic type of way. I'm not, not claiming that the way I'm brewing something is following any sort of tradition. I certainly wouldn't be able to do a Japanese tea ceremony, which has plenty of rules and ways you're supposed to do things, because I don't know how to do that. I will occasionally have matcha, but I'm not, following particular rules to get there. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to talk about in this Flosstube? I feel like I'm not as prepared for this one because I did not do a ton of stitching, and again, I have things going on over the weekend, so I'm also a little pressed for time, which is why I am filming this in the evening with, again, the lighting is sort of different and I'm not having natural light come in. But I think that went over the things that I wanted to go over for now. I'm sure that once I'm editing this, I'll think of other things that I should have talked about or put in here, but we'll see. Depending on how things go and what time I have on my schedule, it's possible I could put a separate tea video up next week, but I'm also not going to commit to that. So we'll see. At some point there'll be a video more about tea, and in there I will also be sure to point you to plenty of other people who can tell you about tea better than I can. I will say that I don't know a lot about people talking about tea on YouTube, just because I haven't looked a ton. I know over on Instagram there's a large, community of people who are into tea, and I follow a bunch of those people. So there's plenty of tea content on Instagram if you want to look for it there. Any other plans? And now that I'm going back to cross stitch here, I'm sure my timestamps on this video are going to be interesting. I have not picked out the fabric and the floss that I want to use for it yet, but I do want to do the Morbs pattern from Modern Folk Embroidery. I've wanted to do that since I first saw it. I know there's a lot of people who are stitching, have stitched it just in recent weeks, and I want to do it too. And because it's small, that's one that I feel like maybe I can get away with starting coming up. I just have to make decisions on floss and fabric, and I'm trying to decide what count of fabric to do it on and how to stitch it. I did pick up some small pieces of 46 count fabric when I had placed my order for the fabric that I'm using for Saga, because there was some stuff on sale, and I'm like, let me, now that I was able to use the 40 count, let me try something a little higher and see whether or not that will work. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to use that or whether I want to use 40 count and see what it looks like to stitch 1/1, which seems like that would maybe be really hard on the eyes, even with the magnifier, and I don't know whether I'd like it or not, but part of me wants to try it, so I don't know. Again, one of those things floating out there where I have to play around with stuff, and once I decide what I want to do, particularly if it's a maybe try 1/1 option, I may have to attempt to stitch a tiny little bit and see whether or not, stitch a tiny little bit on a corner of a piece of fabric and decide whether or not I can even comfortably stitch that way before I dive into fully stitching it, but we'll see. Like I said, so many plans, so many things that I want to do. It's very easy once you start looking through all the patterns and stuff available to want to do everything, want to dive into everything, and I very much want to do that. And it's the trying to hold back and keep things somewhat in check. And I do want to finish things, and I think that's partially why the ones I've been working on right now, in particular, since the all treats no tricks is not all that big, to kind of push through and get more of this done so I can have something finished and then set it aside before I get yet another thing going. I feel like there was more I wanted to talk about. What else? Well, I can't think of whatever it was, so I think I will wrap things up here, and we'll see. Hopefully I'll get more stitching done before my next video, so there'll be more stitching content to show. We'll see. I'm also very happy that it's October. I got this. It's actually kind of really too warm in here to be wearing this sweater, but it's a Halloween sweater that I picked up last year, and now that it's October, I feel like I can actually get a chance to wear it, and even though it's warm in here, I'm wearing it anyway because it should be worn. So well, that is it for this Flosstube. And thank you all for watching. Don't forget to get your Jingle Ball tickets next week if that's something that you want to do. And I will see you in the next video. All right. Bye.